welcome to Tiny Shop Talk. Before we do anything, most of you here are merchants. That's the Shopify term for selling stuff online. So I would like you all to get your phones out, and I want you to go to your landing page, your homepage for your store, and I want you to count the amount of interactions it takes for you to add something to the cart. And when I say interactions, I mean every time you touch the screen. I want you to do that now. I know you have pizza in your hands, but I don't care. So I want you to just count the amount of interactions, scrolling, clicking, until you've added something to the cart. Okay, if it's taking you longer than this, then we have a whole other problem. I'm just going to speak truths now and might be uncomfortable. But if it took you 1 to 2 interactions to add something to the cart, that's great. Don't change anything.
How many did have 1 to 2?
Yeah, how many did have 1 to 2? Oh, beautiful.
Every
Beautiful.
customer, right?
Nice.
Or soon to be. If you had 3 to 4, I guess that's okay. And if you had 5 or more, shame on you. Shame on you. And you might think like, yeah, but we have variants, or it's really important that they get to the product page and whatever. And that's fine. That's fine. If you have a really good reason for it taking that many interactions to get to it, cool. But hopefully at the end of my talk, I'll try to involve Axel as well. But hopefully you will have changed your mind about that. So yeah, we're at Tiny Shop Talk, first version, kind of a prototype. But the idea is to keep it small, just invite a few of you to kind of keep it nice and cozy, and keep it like no bullshit, straight up tips. So hopefully you will leave here with like, oh, I want to do this. So who am I? I'm Otis. I'm the CEO at Koi. I'll keep it just like that for now. Shopify agency. And
Nice. I'm Axel. I'm head of customer success at Depict. No background needed.
no,
Looks like.
no. You have white in your graphic profile,
good.
so that's what I did. And who is Koi? So some of you already know because you're our clients, but we're a Shopify agency. We only do Shopify, keep it at that. We do design, we do development, we do quality assurance, and we do support. But if you would come to us and say, okay, but we're on WordPress, could you do WordPress development? If you didn't see the sign on the way in, you know our answer. So that would be a no. So we only do Shopify. And just so you know, like, we're not bullshitting. These are some of our clients. See, we know what we're doing. Yes, that is DJ Khaled. So we know our shit. Don't question anything in this presentation. Introduction to Depict.
Yes, and we work with Shopify and also Centra. We have some guests from Centra here as well.
That's okay.
So we work with many different fashion brands. We don't discriminate as you do. So
Yes.
it's both Centra and Shopify. We have an app on Shopify that focuses specifically on collections, which is the topic of this talk. And then on Centra, we do more product discovery broadly, so like search and recommendations as well.
Back to me. Nice. I'm back. So this is a disclaimer. If you have time, if you read fast, you can read it. But otherwise, I would say photograph it. But it just takes away any liability. We're not in the US, so hopefully you won't sue me at the end of this. But yeah, just keep my back clear. But I'm going to be spitting facts. Itch. Collections. Yay. The theme of the talk. When it comes to collections in this case, or in every case, because I'm just speaking truths, there are 2 factors of influence when designing them. So I will say that there is the number of products that you have in your product catalog, but also the number of product variants. So these can be sizes, colors, more. Those are like the most usual one, but this is the truth. So don't question me on this. And moving on towards the collection page. What is a collection page? I did like the classic kind of speaker thing. You ask ChatGPT, but I asked them to explain it like I'm 5 years old. And a collection page is a web page that shows a group of similar things, like all your toys or favorite books in one place, so you can see and choose what you like easily. I like that one. I'm just going to keep that for now. And these are some examples of collection pages. Yes, they are all our clients. You're very favorable right now. But yeah, some different looks. We have CDLP here. So some collection page tips. By number of products in your product catalog. So tips for 1 to 10 products. Is there anyone here who have 1 to 10 products? Beautiful. You don't need one. so you can fight me on this if you want. But what it kind of comes down to is if you have really few products, what you want to do is perhaps instead work with a nice landing page. Explain more about the product. I know that Nuo as well with their product is a very specific type of product. So give it a bit more space instead of just having like a collection page with, 3 products, because that doesn't really say a lot. There's also other great reasons like Cornelis.
Mm.
You want to tell them something about retargeting?
No, sure. No, it's just to get them straight to product page faster, so we can retarget.
And for those who are listening at home, since I have the microphone. So when it comes to retargeting, it's much easier to do it on a product page instead of a collection page. Because if it's on a product page, if you've cut down the funnel, remove the part of it, which is the collection page, it's much easier to do retargeting if they only end up on the product page right away, especially in the discovery phase. So 4 tips for 11 to 999 products. This is very specific, the category here. We'll call it medium-sized catalogs. Who feels affected by this? How many do you have?
1,001.
I meant to write 1,001. Damn. But yeah, we'll start out with filtering. So, what are filters good for? Well, it's a great way to kind of create sub collections within the collection. And you're like, what do you mean? Well, let's say I've navigated into a certain product category and I want to dive even deeper because I like the color green, let's say. I can create my own little sub collection within that collection by filtering on green, which is something that we helped Wall of Art do with their, so if you don't know about Wall of Art, they do prints and they have color themed their different products so that you, when you're choosing for your interior in your home, you can go color coded, which is super nice. Nice to use feature. Great for as well if you go like, you don't know anything about the product catalog, you go for all products, you use the filter instead. We also have Bar Consult here. We created that one a couple of years ago. That one is a really complex way of filtering, and you might feel like, oh, okay, I don't want to touch this. But for professionals, so for people working in the industry, especially within bars, they love this shit because they want to know exactly what size certain glasses or whatever. And then filtering is the most beautiful way to do it because they can just like jump in there. And then we also did a neat thing for Elvine, which is, that's a smiley above that was like the word smiley. But we also created, and we did this for CDOP as well, where using actual collections as like filter options. So you think it's filter options within like a bigger collection, but it's actually just collections within collections, like collectionception. Do you want to add anything to filtering?
No, I mean, keep it simple. I think there's a clear reason why you want filters for your collection pages if you have many. For example, Generica, you're very specific when it comes to jeans. Obviously, you can't keep it too simple there because it's quite specific to the model, etc. But overall, do as few options as you can, the ones that are really relevant for your customer. So keep it super simple. I think Shopify Search and Discovery, like, it works quite well with those filtering options. You don't have to go crazy.
Or go super, super complicated. There's the two. Sorting. So sorting is like the ugly cousin of filters, but you can do it in many different ways. You know, the classics, bestsellers, price low to high, etc., etc. Great if, like, I will admit, a lot of the time, if I really like a brand, but perhaps I don't have the money to buy like any of their products, I will go to the sorting part and I'll do prices low to high and I'll be like, oh, great, they're on sale. Let's go. And it might just be like, a small ring or something and not like the whole vest and whatever, but it works. And I will say as well, I would say sorting can be used as a kind of branding thing as well. Like just adding a lot of sorting options in there just because you want to is not really a point. I don't always, like, sure, with some kind of products, you would maybe go with alphabetically sorting them A to Z. But in a lot of cases, like if you know what the name of the actual product is, God, I hope you search for it instead. Don't go into like a collection and start going A to Z and start scrolling for, Q or whatever the letter might be. Shopify is limited with its sorting options, but then there's apps like Depict.
Exactly. We'll talk more about
that later. Moving on to doom scroll versus pagination, the big water divider. If I ask Cornelis, which one do you like more?
You know which one.
Yeah, you like doom scroll. But yeah, so well, doom scroll is super nice if you're just exploring, you know, the first time experiencing a certain like brand. Let's say you're jumping into Grandpa store, why not? Maybe you just want to scroll away. You're not certain what you want. You just want to, you know, you want that Instagram experience. Sure, doom scroll all the way. But let's say you're a bit more like, you know where you're going, you know what you're looking for. Maybe like in the case of Maria Nila, you're looking for a certain kind of product. In that case, it can be nice with pagination because it makes it much easier to navigate in between pages. If you're going back, like you're trying to find like, oh wait, I had that product before I was looking at, that was at page number 3 or 2 or whatever, easier to find. If you've scrolled for 10 minutes in doom scroll mode, good luck. Good luck. Editorial versus clean. So, editorial collection page versus the clean one. Which one should you pick? Well, in this room, why not both? Huh? So we actually did this for CDOP. We created 2 different collection page setups where one would be the more editorial one, nice to kind of deep dive into the brand, while we also have a clean look when it's just like, okay, so editorial might work for a campaign collection page where you want imagery, or actually we'll talk more about this later. I'm not going to dive too much into it. But when it comes to clean, it's much nicer because you can navigate everything quickly. You get a quick, nice overview. Underwear as a category doesn't perhaps have to be so brandy. And with that, I will talk about a view switcher. Now, this is something, now you might be feeling like, oh, wait, I don't know what a view switcher is. The first kind of parts, you were like, yeah, I know this shit. Like, this is easy. But a view switcher, so we've implemented this on quite a few of our sites, especially on CDLP. We did it where there's a view switch in between like how many product cards you can see per like row. And with, as you can see with the wall of art, we did it as well, where there's a much nicer overview. Great to use a view switcher, especially if you're just navigating if there's something nice look-wise. You know, you don't need to know the price. You perhaps don't need to know what the name is of the product. Then it's nice to get a quick kind of overview. But if you really want to look closer, but you don't want to navigate into the product page, then you can do another kind of view switch, which would be the one which like sizes up the product card. So tips for, it's supposed to say 1002 here. Do we have any in this product segment? Great, because it's same-ish as the last one, so we don't have to deep dive into that one. Jumping onwards, so we talked about the collection page, that's like the overview. Now we're going to jump into the product card. A product card is like a picture of a toy or snack that shows you what it is, how much it costs, and maybe a few things about it. It helps you decide if you want to get it or look at more details. These are some examples of product cards. Yes, they are all our clients. We're doing humble bragging, you know, at Sales Hundreds. So some product card tips, and in this we will consider the number of variants when we talk about it. So quick buy. Quick buy is a small little button which you'll add to the product card so that you can add it right away, probably from like a home page or a collection page, specifically perhaps a collection page in this case, because the theme of this Tiny Shop Talk is collection pages. When you see the first example, so why is quick buy good? Well, it gives the opportunity to the customer to just add it right away without having to spend an extra click going into the product page. And in this case, so first one is water and wines. They just have puzzles. They don't come in different sizes. It's one variant. That's it. Simple. Add to cart. Boom. Done. Secondly, we have similarly Skinome. So Skinome is a skincare brand, but they have a really nice business model which they want to grow, which is a subscription-based model on their skincare brand. So what happens if you click add to cart straight away with a quick buy is that you get the option to subscribe to the product as well. So you get like an extra click. And yes, this has, since we did the rebuild and added this feature, I can't tell you a number, but it has increased their subscription customers greatly. Third one is a more kind of upsell case. So we work with Nicotinos who they don't sell specifically to Sweden because of laws, but they sell to the rest of Europe, specifically, I think the US as well, right? Yeah. And what they have done is that when you use their quick buy function, instead of having it be like, okay, subscribe or something, they instead do upsell by giving you bigger, like more. So if you buy more money off. That's simple. So as you can see, on the third one, so the more units, the better the price. And last but not least, when it comes to different product variants in this case, so for Reload, we launched their store just last week. But so what we did there is that the quick buy option, in their case, you can also just choose size and color, and you can get it into this without actually going into the product card. Tags, usually used for sales, can be used for other things. Not going to dive too deep into it. You have some examples here. You can do bestseller, etc. But a neat thing that we did was that for Maria Nyla, we gave them the option to use images instead of actual like text-wise, which means that they can show prices that they want for their products instead of just writing. So that's a neat little thing, especially since their products won like Allure Award and Cosmopolitan and Marie Claire, you know, that's nice. Nice to show. Next is reviews. Love them or hate them. I know sometimes it feels like, yeah, we don't really want to show reviews because it brings down the brand experience. That's fine, but when it comes to somebody who doesn't know anything about your brand, a really great way to bring that bring down the uncertainty of if they're going to buy or not is to know if others have bought it and what they thought about it, even if they don't know the person. And I'm not saying create fake reviews, but I'm not saying do not create fake. No, I'm kidding. No, but if you have any reviews, like if it's just 1 or 2, that's much better than 0. And last but not least, image carousel. You might be thinking like, well, we have a lot of imagery. We want to be able to show that. We want to, we want the customer to be able to really see what the product looks like. And then they have to go into the product page, right? No, they don't. They don't have to. So we got this inspiration from Louis Vuitton. That's the middle one. We have not made that one, unfortunately. We'll see next year. But we thought it was a super nice feature. So we implemented it on both Elvine and on Common Sweden when we built their stores. And it's just a nice way to, without pulling the customer out of the exploratory phase, if you want to call it that, they can like look around, check, okay, what are these different products look like, or does it have different colors, like in Elvine's case, and then they can just keep scrolling. Nice feature. So let's bring it back. Now that you heard all my great insights and tips, perhaps reflect a bit. Could we bring down the amount of interactions to add to cart? If the answer is yes, good. If it's not, you can come and talk to me afterwards. But that's it for now. And last but not least, we're Koi. Thank you. I will leave it to Axel now. We're going to do a smooth transition. Don't go anywhere. Stay in your seat.
Right, we're going to kick it off immediately. We don't go get a new drink pizza yet. Otis did a great talk here, focused on a technical aspect. There's some sort of hands-on tips that's quite, specific, and I wouldn't call it basic, but it's good. It's very much the standard thing. I want to focus more on the brand aspect of a collection page that we think is super important. And I'd say that a lot of brands, and probably many in you here as well, underinvest in your collection pages. I think people tend to spend more time on the front page, for example, and the product page, also super important. But the best brands out there, they really obsess about their collection page. They really spend a lot of time thinking, designing, and working with their collection page. And I'd say it comes down to 3 things why collection pages are important, like why we're all here and want to focus on that. And the first one is that it's often the user's first impression. So either if it's through paid or organic search, they usually come into a collection page, or quite often brands push their ads directly to a collection page, or it could be through social media as well. It's a nice way to bring the customer in. It's often the first impression that they have of your brand. The second thing is the collection page is usually, obviously this differs from brand to brand, but where users spend a lot of time, most of the time actually, when it comes to product discovery, finding the actual products. And the last part is that the collection page is really where you sort of bring brand and performance together. So it's where they experience your brand, but also the product discovery that I talked about. It's also where they take decisions for conversion as well. So it's about bringing those two together in one page, essentially. So that's why the best brands really focus a lot on their collection pages, and why you should do it as well. And how do I know this? Because we at Depict spend a lot of time looking at collection pages, trying to build collection pages for our customers, and interviewing people about collection pages. And we have this website that we launched, shopifycollections.com, where we highlight 50 really good examples. CDLP, you're getting a lot of love tonight, so you're mentioned on this one as well. A lot of other brands as well. So go have a look if you want some inspiration. And what are these 50 collection pages that we highlighted, these brands that we talked and look at? I'd say there are three things that they have in common for their collection pages that I want to show you, give you some inspiration to what you can do to your collection pages. And the first one, which makes sense, is they use content on their collection pages. A lot of brands probably you in here, you spend a lot of time and money thinking and creating content because it's super important for a D2C brand. But then you tend to not use it on the collection page, which is where your customers spend a lot of time, which is a lost opportunity for sure. The second, that's a bit more vaguely phrased, but that's thinking outside the grid. And with the grid, we mean the standard like 2x2, 4x4 product row, where you just see the same type of products. I'll show some more examples what I mean there. And the last part is thoughtful merchandising. So the best brands, they think a lot about which products should show up where on the collection page. It could be data-driven, so looking at sales and inventory to try to push certain products. It could also be brand-driven to try to match different outfits together. So these are the three things that the best brands do on their collection pages, and I'll go through them one by one. If we start with content, as I said, all brands have a lot of existing brand assets. I mean, if you're a D2C brand, the sort of content that you create is super important for you. But as I said, you tend to underutilize it if you don't use it on your collection pages. And we've seen sort of two broad themes in how they use it on their collection pages. One is to inform your customers, so give them more information about you as a brand or these products. And the second one is that they try to inspire the customer. I'll show you examples of both from the picked customers. So here we have one. We have Gabriela Hearst, very like high-end New York brand using the Picked in One Way. We have Local Taste, super local here in Sweden. They're selling like fresh produce from farmers nearby. And then we have Sisterly Tribe workout wear also from Sweden. If we start with Gabriela Hearst, it's very simple. They add like an image directly on this collection page. And what I like about it is that it sort of, first and foremost, shows the product in a different setting. And second of all, it shows that this is a high-end brand. It really, like, these are shoots from the runway, which sort of explains why you should pay $2,000 for a bag, essentially. So right, just by 2-3 simple images, you just have another storytelling around the brand, which is super helpful for both like building the brand, but also I think conversion on this, right? The second example, as I said, Local Taste, very different from Gabriela Hearst, but you just see the video here that they add with this chicken having the time of their lives, right? It just tells the story really nice why you should buy your eggs from this place instead of going down to ICA and buying them. It really explains how Local Taste is different from other brands, essentially. And last example, Sisterly Tribe. What I like with this example is that they sort of show the products, what they will look like on a person. And it also gives a bit of a brand story that it's quite a playful brand. It's that type of vibe. So that's sort of around how you can use content in collection pages to sort of inspire your shoppers and visitors in many ways. Secondly, is around informative content. So here it's about giving more context to your shoppers to sort of help them come to a conversion. L'Estrange, British fashion brand, I think if you look at the trousers collection that they have, it's quite large, but they use these content blocks to divide the collection page into different sections. So you have the slim 24 trousers, then they have merchandise those products, and then comes the relaxed trousers with a little text around what sort of makes these pants stand out. And then, yeah, the heavyweight 24 trousers. So this is a nice way of breaking out larger collection into sort of easier digestible forms, and it still gives information. I'm not sure if you saw it, but in the beginning also, if you hover over this one, they even have like amazing pants. They have a review built into that as well. It's just like a tiny little thing that probably helps with the conversion.
And if I might chime in.
Yes, you may.
No, and this is like with the overall what the Picked offers as well, not to like also give you too much love, but we built this like customized for CDLP in hindsight. Now that we see the Picked, it's offering a lot of that functionality as well. Of course, we made it look like super, super nice.
Yeah.
But it's also something which democratizes really nice merchandising.
Exactly. If you can't afford Koi, come to us.
I just see he gave me a note to read during, so I gotta say it.
Yeah. And then second example is very, very simple. I mean, it makes sense. It's just like on Mulle Collection, jewelry brand, it's just like gifting made easy for this page. If you're buying for someone else, just having that there tells you, okay, they take care of it. It's a nice package. They solve the gifting for them. I think this will help with the conversion on some type of customers coming into this page. Last example is from K Collective. It's a Swedish startup. They're selling like bespoke art. So it's like an Etsy, so it's local artist meets Pinterest essentially. So they give some information here, even though it's a nice picture, discover inspiring pieces made by designers and artists. You get a sense of like what type of brand this is. And what I like with this is that they also have the dividers. We'll see it a bit further down here. So they see, here we go, this specific artist, Emma Videll. And it gives you the option, if you click on it, you land on another collection page where you have all of the pieces by Emma Videll. So it like keeps the customer engaged and keeps them staying on your page. And they're doing this combined with very inspirational images. So it's like a double whammy, as we say. So these are how customers use informative content on their collection pages. So we've been through why collection pages are important and that you should use content on them. The second thing, a bit more vaguely phrased, as I said, it's thinking outside the grid. And as I said, what I mean with the grid is just this boring, you recognize it, hopefully not from your brand, but like the standard, just 4x4, 2x2, same type of pictures, even just flat shots or just model shots. It makes your sort of products blend into one another. It's hard for them to stand out, especially if you have a large collection. So what we've seen here, I mean, shout out to Koi, actually, Elvine. I think you do a really good job here. It's just like, it's a small thing, but just dividing up the collection page. So it's a different size product cards, make the collection a lot more dynamic for the visitor. So something happens. And you show this as well. Love the swipes, makes sense. And you don't have to go crazy like this with different product cards if it's hard to do for you. One super simple way that Totem does with the Pict is just they select different images that they highlight. So instead of just having model images or just flats, they mix them together, which sort of creates outfits and just makes it more inspiring for the visitor to sort of keep scrolling on this collection page. So even though you don't do anything large, just like choosing to highlight different type of products images can make a lot of sense. So that's a very short one, but I think it's a small thing that makes a big difference for your collection pages to make it more dynamic and inspiring. And the last part is around sort of thoughtful merchandising. As I said, a lot of these great brands spend a lot of time thinking about which type of products should we push in our collection pages. And I'd say there are two ways. One is the manual merchandising, where they think about what looks good together, which suits very well for example, a new in, which tends to be quite brand driven. So you curate, okay, outfits or these types of inspirational images, what kind of pictures do we want with them? And the second one is data driven, as I mentioned, like looking at your sales and inventory, maybe the sell-through rate, how fast you're going through your inventory, what type of things should we push up? So the manual merchandising, I mean, it just makes sense on especially the collections that are quite brand driven or drive a lot of traffic, especially if it's a very inspirational ad and then they land on a quite random collection page, you probably lose that customer. But if you have nice content from an ad and they land on a well curated by a person from your brand, it makes total sense. It will probably increase the conversions. So that's for manual merchandising. And a lot of our customers spend a lot of time with this, just dragging and dropping and deciding which products should show up where. And you can still be data driven here, even though you do it manually. So like what looks together, and then you have the data points around, okay, what's selling, what's on sale, etc. So you can keep that in mind.
And that's a throwback to what I mentioned earlier with the limitations with Shopify. With this kind of manual merchandising, you blow that away.
Exactly. You probably, or some of you have probably done it in Shopify. It's really tedious. It's like this little list. You don't really have any data there as well. So you have to look in a spreadsheet to sort of figure out what the data behind the product, how it's selling. And then it's hard to get a visual overview, like what will this look like for my customers on the front end. And the second part is like more automated merchandising. And here, especially for really large collections, it makes sense to automate this. Or if it's not a super brand driven collection page, you can just let an engine take care of it. So we have some examples here of things you can do with the Pict that you can like automatically boost your bestsellers. So you push them up the collection page together with your new in, and then you push down your out of stock items or your items that just have a few sizes available. There are other tools out there that can do this as well, but it like in comparison to the standard one that exists in Shopify, which is just best selling or just new in or just manual, it's day and night, I'd say. So here you can combine different rules together to get a much better result. I think Myrkvist just came in. You're using this a lot. You don't do a lot of manual, but you do a lot of automatic ones. And you have how many products? Few hundred.
Yeah, over 100, but we have no one person on ecom, so I don't have time.
Exactly, so you let it be automatic. I mean, together with, if you're a larger company, to sit together with the purchasing department, looking at the trends on like what's selling when, what have been sitting in my inventory for a long time, instead of pushing it to sales in like 3 weeks or something, okay, you might want to push these products up so you give them more real estate on the page and therefore sell them out at quicker without having to discount them, which helps you with your cash flow. You can combine the sort of manual and automatic merchandising, but what we've seen from the best brands is they at least think a lot with the merchandising and like have strategies for what products to push. They don't just let it sit and be, random. They have a thought behind every collection page, what type of strategy they have for that collection page. All right, quick summary. If you want to build your collection pages like the best brands, I think number one is like invest more in your collections. They matter a lot. Customers tend to land on them when they first interact with your brand. Customers tend to spend a lot of time on them as well, and they matter both in terms of building your brand, but also like your performance about selling things. And then number one thing is like use content either to inspire or inform. You can do both as well. Makes total sense because you have all of those brand assets, so it makes sense to also use them on your collection pages. The third one is think outside the 2x2, the 4x4 grid, try to make it more dynamic and interesting, especially for larger collections. Think about highlighting different types of images or breaking it out with different product card sizes. And lastly, merchandise thoughtfully. If you're a one-person e-com team, okay, find a tool that does it automatically for you, but have a strategy around it, and maybe spend time on your collection there where you have most traffic. Maybe you spend some time curating those. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you for showing up to Tiny Shop Talk version 1. We will hopefully be doing this in another couple of months. We'll see what the setup is then. But until then, you may mingle and play beer pong. Thank you all for coming.
Nice.
Thank you.
Thank you.